Welcome learners to the module 2 of English communication. Today we are going to learn understanding and learning English vocabulary. The highlights of the lectures are why learn vocabulary, second, how vocabulary can help in speaking and writing skills, vocabulary building skills, how to build it, the concept of word formation process and use of prefix and suffix, use of synonyms and antonyms in technical communication, and lastly use of proper diction and pronunciation such as homophones and homonyms. Vocabulary is a list of collection of words or words and phrases usually alphabetically arranged and explained or defined. In other words, it is a sum or stock of words employed by a language, group, individual or work in a field of knowledge. The word vocabulary is primarily associated with the number of words that a person knows. One either has a large or small vocabulary. A word may have many shades of meaning. The noun vocabulary refers to the words used in a language. The word vocabulary can have at least 3 different meanings. 1. All of the words in a language. Number 2. The words used in a particular context. For example, if you want to do an MBA, you need to improve your business vocabulary. Look at the second sentence. My neighbor is a doctor, so he has an extensive medical vocabulary. Then third, the words as an individual person knows. For example, the teacher says that my vocabulary is good. So, why learn vocabulary? What is its importance? In our own individual vocabulary, there is a difference between words that we understand and use, that is our active vocabulary, and the words that we understand but do not or cannot use, which is termed as passive vocabulary. This is true for native speakers as well as for learners. In your own language, there are many words that you use regularly when speaking or writing. These words are part of your active vocabulary. And then there are many words that you understand when you hear them on television, for example, but do not use in everyday speech. These words are a part of your passive vocabulary. So, without a sufficient understanding of words, one cannot understand others or express their own ideas. This is a limitation if you do not know vocabulary. So, thus vocabulary becomes an integral part when one learns a language. It also helps in being fluent. Along with grammar, one must be equipped with good vocabulary of the target language. Here are the few reasons below you can consider why vocabulary is important. Number 1. Without vocabulary, nothing is conveyed. When we break down both written and spoken language, we are left with 2 basic things, vocabulary and grammar. So, vocabulary represents the meaning bearing units of language, and grammar provides the rules and structures for assembling these units. While grammar is undoubtedly important, it is not a vital part of a language. In most situations, you can ignore grammar rules and still get your message across, but without vocabulary, nothing is conveyed. Number 2, the larger your vocabulary, the easier it becomes to learn. So, learning new words is one of the most difficult tasks in learning a new language, but once you learn to recognize the new words in the target language, you learn the meaning of the word in your own language and you repeat the word or meaning. It pairs over and over until you can recall them without thinking. Once you start to increase your vocabulary and grow your language skills, you will find that you start learning the meaning of new words in a different way, through context rather than repetition. Third, increasing your vocabulary lets you focus on more challenging aspects of language. If you have a rich vocabulary, it will help you to communicate in a more engaging way. Relying on one or two words or describe an idea will sound repetitive and not as persuasive. Fourth, a large vocabulary lets you to make good impression on others. So, how articulate you are constitutes a big part of the impression you make on others. So, selection of words in technical communication and its necessity. Select words, or commonly known as jargon, is a literary term that is defined as the use of specific phrase and words in a particular situation, profession or trade. These specialized terms are used to convey hidden meanings accepted and understood in that field. So, jargons are examples which are found in literary and non-literary piece of writing as well. The use of jargon becomes essential in technical pieces of writing when the writer intends to convey something only to the readers who are aware of these terms. So, jargon in earlier times were used as trade language or as the language of a specific profession, as it is somewhat unintelligible for others who do not belong to that particular profession. So, specific terms were developed to meet the needs of the group of people working within the same field or occupation. Jargon is sometimes confused with slang, and people often take it in the same sense, but the difference is always there. Slang is a type of informal category of language developed within a certain community and consists of words and phrases whose literal meanings are different than the actual meaning. Hence, it is not understood by people outside of that community or circle or group. Slang is more common in spoken language than written. Jargons, on the other hand, is broadly associated with a subject, occupation or business that makes use of the standard words or phrases. The concept of word formation process in the vocabulary building as a part of a vocabulary building skills. Word formation refers to the ways in which new words are made on the basis of other words or morphemes, that is called as the smallest unit of a word. Word formation can denote either a state or a process. Most English vocabulary arises by making new lexemes out of the old ones, either by adding a affix to previously existing forms, altering their word class, or combining them to produce compounds. So, let us know how words are formed. Many words are built by using combination of linguistic elements such as prefixes, suffixes and combining forms, whereas prefix and suffix adjust the sense of a word or its word class. Combining forms differ by contributing to the particular meaning of that word. So, we have three ways to form words. One is compounding, second blending, third clipping, and root words from foreign languages and the use in English. Compound is a lexeme, less precisely a word that consists of more than one stem. So, compounding or composition is the process of word formation that creates compound lexemes or words. Compounds can either be native or borrowed. Native English roots are typically free morphemes, so that means native compounds are made out of independent words that can occur by themselves. For example, blackbird, you have where composed of free root, that is black, and free another word that is board. Combining this we get blackboard. Other examples like dry run, blackbird, hard drive, pickpocket, cut purse, lick spittle, etc. Some compounds have more than two component words. These are formed by successively combining words into compounds. For example, pickup truck formed from pickup and truck, where the first component pickup is itself a compound formed from pick and up. Other examples are like ice cream cone, no fault insurance, and even more complex compounds like top rack dishwasher safe. The second word formation process is blending. Blending is a word formation by combining roots or affixes along with their edges. One morpheme comes to an end before the next one starts. The morpheme do not overlap. For example, brunch is a combination of breakfast and lunch, which means food taken in between the both. Other examples like motel, electrocute, smoke, cheeseburger, mocktail, cocktail with no alcohol, think tank, etc. The third one is clipping. Clipping is a type of abbreviation of a word in which one part is clipped off the rest of the word and the remaining word is usually used colloquially. For example, the word rifle is a fairly modern clipping of an earlier compound rifle gun, meaning a gun with a rifle barrel. Other commonly used clip words are like very popular among younger generations. Burger, okay, formed by clipping off the beginning of the word hamburger. Ad from advertisement. Lab from laboratory. The fourth one is root words from foreign language and the use in English. As language travels, it gets influenced by presence of other language or languages. Thus, many English words have come from other languages such as Persian, Urdu, Latin, Russian, Greek and so on. English language is diverse and ever changing. New words are introduced through technology, slang, politics and culture. Every year, in fact, we use new words and slowly leave older words behind. It is the blending of the old and the new that is fascinating about the English language. Words which have originated in another country were embedded into English, such as you can see here the French word a la carte, which is a noun. Okay, so when you go to any kind of restaurants, you can say see that it is written a la carte, which is a menu. Similarly, you see another word, Latin word alma mater. So, initially it was borrowed from Latin, which means nourishing mother, and now it is used to refer to any school, college or university that someone has graduated from. In vocabulary building skills, there is one very important aspect is the prefix and suffix. In the process of word building, prefix and suffix help in forming a word. They are not words in themselves, they appear either at the beginning or at the end of a word. So, affix is a term used to describe both prefix and suffix. So, learning affixes of a language helps to expand your English vocabulary, or for that matter any language. An English word may consist of three parts. One, the root, that is the root is the main this stem is a part of a word that contains the basic meaning or the definition of the word. So, along with this root word, you can either use a prefix, that is a word element placed in front of a root which changes the word meaning or makes a new word, and suffix is a word element placed after the root word which changes the word's meaning as well as its functions. So, how to identify the prefixes in English? Here are some tips. Prefix in English can have similar meanings such as un, in and non, all of which mean not or opposite of. Similarly, prefixes like miss and in mean wrong or incorrect. Second, double letters as prefixes are possible in English. For example, when you add the prefix im to words that begin with the letter ma, you get two ma as in immeasurable. Similarly, when you add un to words that begin with the letter na as in unnoticeable. There are many such prefixes in English. When adding a prefix to a word, the spelling of the base word never changes. For example, the prefix un did not change the spelling of the word happy, and the prefix re would not change the spelling of the word in count as in recount. Here there are also look-alikes in English. Words that look like they contain prefix, but in fact do not. For example, the un, as we have looked in point number 1, un is which means not or opposite. In the word uncle is not a prefix, nor is the re in the words such as reach or real or relate. So, learners must be aware of such words. Now, tips to identify prefixes in English, suffixes in English. Some suffixes have more than one meaning. For example, the suffix er or may suggest a person who performs an action like a teacher. Er is also commonly added to the ends of the adjective and adverbs. They compare two things and show that one is more than the other, such as in faster and stronger. The spelling of the base word can change when a suffix is added. When a prefix is added, it does not change the base word, but when a suffix is added, it changes the base word. So, that is one point, distinctive point, learners must note it down. Words are derived when suffix or suffixes are added to the root word. For example, we have two types, that is inflectional suffix adds only grammatical information and never change the part of the speech. For example, as in girls, n as in eaten, er as in smaller. Now, we have derivational suffix which makes a new word with a new meaning and usually changes the part of the speech. For example, er as in engineer, s in economics, and l as in personnel. There are some of the common prefixes in English like pre, which and it has its meanings, okay, like the meeting is scheduled pre-lunch, un, the doctor will be unavailable tomorrow morning, dis, which means not, the teacher disagreed with John's reply, re means again, are you going to renew your subscription, miss, this house is mismanaged, im, with hard work and determination nothing is impossible, bi, bilingual people are always at advantage, de, which means not, deforestation has led to global warming. Examples of common suffixes in English such as she is a good programmer, able, this device has a convertible program, us, flying planes can be dangerous, ness, happiness is an inner quality, full, this family is joyful all the time, li or y, like most likely it is going to rain today evening, meant, youngsters are dedicated and full of commitment. In the third section of vocabulary building skills, we have the use of synonyms and antonyms in technical communication. So, technical writing is a presentation of information that helps the reader solve a particular problem. So, technical communicators write, design and edit proposals, manuals, web pages, lab reports, newsletters and many other kinds of professional documents. In technical writing or speaking, the choice of words is very important. The idea of using synonyms and antonyms is actually to break the monotonousness whereby it is a pleasure to read or hear. Though no two words have exactly the same meaning, however, it can be used interchangeably. It should be kept in mind that though we have choices of words, we need to be careful while using it. The reason is because communication is always based on the context and the situation of what the speaker intends to convey. So, synonyms are different words with identical or at least similar meanings. It can represent any grammatical category. So, antonyms on the other hand are the word pairs that are opposite in meaning. There are different kinds of antonyms like absolute antonyms, that is which have no comparisons like true and false, gradable, those which have gradations in meaning like hot and cold, relational, such as those words which are relationship between two objects are described like buy and sell, and auto antonyms, these are words that mean opposite in different contexts such as fast, which means quick movement or to fasten up. And the fourth one is use of proper diction and pronunciation, homophones and homonyms. A homophone is a word that is pronounced like other words, but has different meanings. This term is usually used for partial homonyms which are different in meaning as well as spellings. Look at the examples here: feet, feet, no, no, pour, pour, sour, sore. So, you see here both the sets are are similar, they are pronounced in similar, but it has a different meaning. Homonym is a word that has both the same pronunciation and the spellings as another, but it is etymologically unrelated or different. For example, bill and bill. In one point, bill is a statement of charges, and in bill, that is the bird's beak. So, homonyms may or may not include pairs with two words having the same meaning, but do not belong to the same grammatical category. For example, blue, it can be a noun as well as an adjective. Homonyms is sometimes used for a word that has either the same sound or the same spelling as another, but not both. For example, bear is an animal, bear is tolerate. Another one, book is printed word, and book is to arrange. So, my dear learners, you can't build up vocabulary if you never meet any new words. And to meet them, you must read. The more you read, the better. It is like a magic. The more words you know and is able to use, the better you can speak out your ideas. Good luck and thank you.